Hello again everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we have a 1v1 on Desolation with Raghna versus Modulo. Now Modulo is ranked a bit lower than Raghna, as we can see here. There's a 9 OS difference, but when you're getting up to the higher ranks, that's not necessarily too big of a difference. So as we zoom on in on Modulo here, starting in a similar position to Raghna, investing in quite a lot of wind very early on here, which is a interesting move. Going for 5 wind before going into the vehicle plant, whereas we actually see Raghna doing the same. Wind on this map starts at 13. We do have Raghna playing Cortex, and Modulo is Armada. So we have a face-off of the factions for a change. See Modulo planning out a bit more economy as his factory is being built. Same with Raghna. I would argue that Raghna's is a bit more ease of use for his comm access here. Modulo's is a bit spread out, like he can't actually build anymore, you know, or repair them rather, but he has spread them out, meaning that if he needs to fire through or move units through these gaps, he can. Raghna, however, it's a lot more difficult for him to move through here. And as we wait for the first few units to get out, both players here going for a construction vehicle start. Now, as we zoom out on the map, here's an interesting map. As we can see, both corners here have a very high ground area with 7 metal points on. And the high ground will give good radar coverage, but interestingly enough, with both players going vehicle, you can see the speed decrease as the scout comes up the hill here, trying to climb up there. So it is going to be a bit slow for vehicles to go up these high cliff sections, as well as this high cliff section in the middle that's kind of an S shape. Does mean that if your opponent is like pushed round to your side and you're controlling, you know, your path as well, you could flank behind the enemy and cut them off. And we actually saw that happen a time in the Bar Pro League that happened recently. If you didn't catch that out, I suggest you go check the VOD on Bar's Twitch while you can. I'm sure it'll be posted somewhere on YouTube eventually. Some early raiding attempted here from both players, but unfortunately nothing really manages to land. And first main difference we see here between Modulo and Raghna is Raghna is doing a lot better with his expansion. Modulo actually only started on 3 metal extractors, whereas Raghna, you know, has this 4th one ages ago, and is already on his on his 2nd and 3rd expansion mechs. Whereas Modulo is basically 2 metal extractors behind. But good early raid here from Modulo, shutting down a lot of that expansion, and that construction vehicle loss is going to be substantial. Major hit there. Well done Modulo for some very good early raiding. Raghna was unable to do anything about it at all, and mostly gets away scot-free. Raghna's early extension efforts have not paid off now. It has mostly been left on his own. Wind has currently died now for both players. See Modulo running to build a solar. Raghna's solar has just finished himself. But yeah, clearly needs more. Modulo's choosing not to go more, which is surprising. His expansion is not building any Evo. Now, this is a odd place for a radar. It's getting completely blocked by all the hills. I have a feeling that if you move this up to the cliff, you could build one up here and that would cover a lot better than in this little valley. But I guess it's a more defendable position. Modulo actually being the first to start climbing the hill in his corner. See how slow these engineers are going up here. Going to need a lot of time to get up there. But Raghna at the moment being completely forced back is not really doing much at the moment, which is surprising for Raghna. Normally he's quite an aggressive player. Both players being fairly cautious here, not kind of pushing forward with their units at all. Raghna only just starting to move forward. Very well positioned scout up here from Modulo. Or Modulo, sorry. Modulo? Modulo is probably correct. Modulo. Just completely seeing this top section here, and he knows that Raghna is not bothering to go up there yet at all. But we just see a good arm versus core clash here. Now these blitzes get close, they do a tremendous amount of damage, but the incisors do have a very slight range advantage. It's not very noticeable. Range of 230 as opposed to the 180 of the blitzes, but the blitzes getting close deal massive damage to these incisors, and that is a lot of reclaim. Yeah, and as mentioned a minute ago, these hills are very good for radars. Another good raid here. Is the scout gonna get a constructor? No, unfortunately not. These blitzes are gonna run into death very quickly as they're just sent forward to die. Modulo, unfortunately, not really paying attention. He is getting all that reclaim though that was there. Was probably about 400 maybe beforehand. Oh, this is a bit of a misplacement though. These tanks are too far up. These engineers are just left in the open. No units to defend them. And as the units come rushing back, that's going to be a lost construction vehicle. Potentially two if he wants to dive it. Yep, 2 lost construction vehicles. That's a heavy price to pay just for misplacing your defending units. Meanwhile, interesting difference is Modulo is staying in base still, not moving out of his commander at all, building a lot of construction turrets, even though he's having massive energy problems at the moment still. Meanwhile, Raghna using his commander here to push forward, hold this like channel on his own, because when you look at this map, in essence you've got, well, you could argue 4 channels, 4 lanes, one there, one there, one here, and one here. Now, as Modulo has done, it's very easy to defend these cliffside bits in the middle, I mean at the bottom rather, because of the way the ramps are and the fact that both players are vehicle. So building these LLTs along the top is going to cause substantial danger for anyone wishing to climb it. Whereas the 2 little hills either side are flat grounds rather, are perfectly open. Modulo in a bit of danger here. He's got enough blitzes though. This comm is having to move around. The aircraft lab does get spotted, and this is about a lot of economy damage about to be done as Modulo pulls his blitzes off early. No LLTs in his base at all to defend, and 2 metal extractors, a bunch of wind goes down. And the armed gunship being built, which most people are not a fan of. He could be using the construction turrets here to reclaim that, but chooses not to, and that's a big economy hit for Modulo, and that's not good. Meanwhile, this scout is going to get, well, all of these metal extractors for free unless he's paying attention. He tries to send the gunship there to clear that up. Hopefully he'll be able to do something. This force here will get cleaned up. And these armed metal extractors on that north lane is going to do a good amount of damage to any force that goes to push through. And as we look at Raghna's base here, doing perfectly fine for energy. See, he's moving on to medium tanks now and pounders. This force that tried to push up the hill here gets completely taken out. Only a single LLT is lost. And gunships, don't know if that was the right call. Arm is somewhat limited with its air options. Core obviously has the shuriken, which is amazing to deal with raiding units. The gunships, not quite so much. Another good raid, though, from Modulo, who manages to take out 3 metal extractors here and starts moving around the back. But as they come into these pounders, they're going to get shut down very quickly. Unfortunately, does not manage to get the construction vehicle. And only metal extractors lost. It could have been worse. Modulo going very heavy into these gunships here. Now, I don't know if this is the right call. Raghna moving his commander to assist his brutes in the bottom corner here. Lashers have already come out to deal with air. Raghna going to try something cheeky, like building up on this cliff. No, he's just trying to get the reclaim. At the moment, it's kind of got a bit of a stalemate. This engineer, again, is going to get taken out. Modulo unable to recap the section of his own side. Gunships coming to try and save the construction vehicle. Does not happen anywhere near in time. Look how many of these gunships there are. They're just doing nothing. Shots missing left and right. Only just killing a single incisor in all that time. And actually just letting the construction vehicle live. He saw that, but he's now rushing to try and help this bottom left-hand side. To be fair, if he can take out the commander, it doesn't matter. Could he be trying to commander snipe with the gunships? Is that his plan? No, he just sets them to fight move. The blitzers come in, but Raghna's already ready. Tries to degun the air, doesn't work. Good micro from Modulo here. Modulo, rather. Fortunately, these gunships just don't have enough damage. Degun misses yet again. So the incisors can hit the air stuff still. That's why the gunships have still taken damage. Not enough output of damage from these gunships, unfortunately. They are good enough to stop Raghna building any sort of air defense, though. But unfortunately, these gunships are kind of just delaying the inevitable. Modulo confined now to about less than a third of the map. This is very bad that he's just conceded this section of the top of his base here. Very, very bad. I do not think gunships were the right call here. And this mass army of brutes storm Modulo's position. These gunships are not causing Raghna any issues. He just doesn't really mind about them at all. Modulo actually moving in with his comm here. Very dangerous. Although these are very grouped up. Great D-gun. Very good D-gun. Modulo down to 42% health. And most of Raghna's tank army actually got D-gun there by Modulo. Well done. Still building more air though, which is surprising. Some of the tanks do manage to make it through. Janus is now coming out from Modulo. This is where you should be using the construction turrets to reclaim the tanks. Unfortunately, construction turret goes up there. But Modulo's been really struggling for for energy all game. And because he's building like all these gunships, 2,300 energy, and it's 2,900 for the fighters. Whereas if you just pumped it into stouts and Januses, it's a very similar energy cost, but you're not building two of them at the same time. Needless to say, Raghna just slowly containing him. Gunships are coming in, trying to get some damage off. Does manage to get a D-gun off and kills one of the gunships with a D-gun. You don't see that very often. And gets another one. Now that takes some skill. D-gunning aircraft. And Raghna has transitioned to Tech 2. So far he's just invested in economy, which makes sense. He is ahead right now. Has an economy lead of, well, a substantial economy lead, almost 22-ish. Well, it's hard to say. Both players are currently reclaiming, but if we quickly check the stats, we can see metal produced pretty similar. Only 6k metal extra ahead, which is very much at all. Raghna has accessed a lot of energy. But has produced almost, well, over 100k more energy at the moment. So, still all to play for here. But Raghna going to start rolling out the Tigers. And the air hasn't really come into much in this game for Modulo. It's very slow push from the Whistlers here. Aren't really going to add to much. Janice is taking a lot of extra damage, unfortunately. And a bit of friendly fire there also from a Janice takes out a lot of friendly units, which is not good. I'd argue he should also be probably using set target as this drive through, because he took a lot of friendly fire and took a lot of extra damage when all he needed to do was really target the mech spots, which were the armed ones. Some Blitz is still alive here. He is going to get a decent amount of economy damage on this north hill here, as there is basically nothing there to stop him. The Tigers are going to start heading up, but because it's a hill, it's going to take them so long to get up the hill. The time it's taken him just to go up the hill, Modulo has basically covered the entire top of the hill, taking out most of the metal points. Modulo now getting Tech 2 unit detected. He knows he needs to desperately transition to Tech 2 himself. He is building a third lab. Don't know why he's going Centurions. Fortunately, armed gunships don't really have the oomph behind them. And you can see that by look how many gunships there are shooting at this single tank. And it's only now just died. And I don't know what Modulo's plan here is. He's just walking all of his forces off rather than trying to defend. Modulo does do a great job at taking out all of the expansion of Raghna, stepping him back quite a bit, but as he's got Tech 2, as we can see over here, he's just so far ahead at this point. It's going to be hard for Modulo to do something. He probably needs to go for a commander snipe if he can. Gunships, again, not really suitable for that purpose. I would say he's investing too much into air right now. Raghna has not put anything into air. You don't need to be building all these fighters. So stop the fighter production entirely. Reclaim the air lab. Air has done nothing for you. Reclaim it, get rid of it. Get that Tech 2 built as soon as possible. You can see these forces in the middle here. Lashes just slowly taking out these air constructors. Air constructors are... Well, these laser turrets are now going to do nothing as well, as these just get outranged by the lashes. Complete waste of time, unfortunately. Also, it makes no sense to build these here to stop Raghna going like this. Why? You're defending nothing, in essence? I mean, you may be defending this ridge line to stop plasma being bombed on you, but Still, not really a great idea. Now, the massive tigers coming in. It's now the end. Modulo, he does get Tech 2 built, but I'm afraid it's not quick enough. He did a very good job of holding that left corner for such a long time. Raghna makes a little bit of a mistake here. Lines up his tanks in a position that only half of them can shoot. Only one tiger actually gets killed though, so it's not the end of the world for Raghna. And now all of those fighters that were produced are going to slowly get whittled away by these two lashers on the hill. Raghna now does start getting some of his own fighters, just in case there's a bombing run coming in. See, Janices do a sizable amount of damage to the tigers, but they are so squishy. I don't know whether he was planning on going Centurions here for the fielding of the Janices, but again, not really worth it. Yeah, he's saying it's just going to tickle the tigers. Yeah. Does maintain his superiority with his fighters, but again, how much damage he's doing. Not enough. Not enough to kill all of these tigers roaming their way straight into Modulo's base. Single bull is out on the field now, but more is needed. A little too late for Modulo. The enemy tigers roam through his expansion. Not enough energy to degun. Just manages to get a single one off, but there are still 9 tigers left. Saying that though, at the same time, Modulo has done a good bit of harass here, just getting through, causing some damage. Both players look like they're about to be set back quite a bit. Raghna not so much. Modulo actually changing his mind and pulling back, which is a bit of a mistake there. Could have got a bit more damage. Don't know what he's planning on doing with them now, but these gunships are not going to do anything versus these tigers. You can see how long it's taken to do anything. And he's just now basically sacrificing this corner. Way too slow in the reaction with those tanks there. And to be honest with you, I don't see Modulo pulling this back unless Raghna makes some substantial mistake. We check the economies here. Raghna 1.3k energy, 89 metal. Modulo 700 energy, 26 metal. And again, as we check the statistics, whilst looking at that fight in the background, metal produced now, huge difference. 61k for Raghna, 43k for Modulo. And energy difference, both players accessing around the same, but Raghna with 800k as opposed to Modulo's 500, almost 600. A huge difference. Raghna being nice, not even sending in all his tanks in one go. But 3 bulls versus the 4 tigers. Not going to turn out well for Modulo. All the gunships have now, except one, has finally been destroyed. The leftover brutes trying to get up the hill, but because of the flamethrower turrets here, doing a great job. I heard Raghna's kind of playing with his food at this point here. Should easily be able to take out Modulo. Modulo are only able to field 4 bulls. Raghna with 17. Raghna also with even a fusion. So, what did Modulo do wrong? Well, firstly, the air that he built. not a good choice. Those gunships, not a good idea. Again here, he's moving his army off as there's a massive army pushing towards him, and he only just realizes now he has radar. He should have seen them. Simple mistake there. He doesn't need flak either. Like, I guess if he started seeing shurikens of the enemy, then fine. But there hasn't been a single shuriken. Why bother? These Tech 2 PVDs, but way too far back. But a lot of small mistakes compounding into one serious mistake in the end. Raghna manages to win quite substantially. Well, I hope this one was informative for you at least, giving you some idea on what not to do in a 1v1, especially for playing ARM. And thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.